Today we're gonna make chili mac. This is a delicious comfort food meal. It combines chili and mac and cheese in an easy way. This is good for all fall, winter time period, football season, everything. Here are the ingredients. Let's get into it right now. What this recipe is easy and delicious. We're gonna make a chili and we're gonna make basically a cheesy pasta. We're gonna bake it all together. You're gonna love it, trust me. All right, let's go over the chili ingredients first. We have 1 large onion that I finely diced. Recipe says 1 red bell pepper, large red bell pepper finely diced. The one I had was very small, and the green bell pepper I had was small, so I used 2 of them, which is totally fine. 5 cloves of garlic I minced, and then for the meat, I have 80-20 here. I have 1 1/4 pounds of ground chuck, which is 80-20. Okay, that's gonna give us the bones of the chili. The flavors for the chili are going to be 2 tablespoons of commercial chili powder, 2 teaspoons of ground cumin, 1 1/2 teaspoons of diamond Crystal Kosher salt. I have 1 teaspoon of dried oregano. You can use Mexican oregano. I have 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. I also have 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne, ground cayenne. That can be very spicy. This is like a lot of seasoning here, but you kind of need it because this is a quick chili. We're not cooking it and putting it in the fridge overnight to like really push the flavors. So we need all this. Can you use other types of chili powder? Absolutely. Just if you do use them, you got to check the heat levels. So I would not use 2 tablespoons of ground chipotle powder unless you like things insanely spicy. Can you add a couple chipotles in adobo? Absolutely here, okay? But this is a really good base to start with. We also have 2 cups of low sodium beef stock. I'm using Better Than Bouillon brand. It's gonna kind of like give us enough liquid for when this bakes. Also for the liquid is 28 ounces of plum tomatoes. These are crushed, so between the meat and all those tomatoes and everything else, we need all this spice to really, give it some good flavor. Beans, I have 15 ounces of kidney beans that I just drained 1 can's worth. If you don't like beans in your chili, take it out, but it's nice to put these beans in it because it bulks it up. It makes it not as expensive. You can get a lot of food out of this. You can feed a lot of people for a very, very low amount of money, okay? Which I think is important these days. And I like the beans because they go in the shell pasta that I'm using here. Now, if you don't like the shells and you want to stick to regular elbow mac, completely fine. I'm using 12 ounces of dried pasta. For the cheese, I have, recipe says 3 1/2 cups of Monterey Jack or cheddar. I'm using a combination of both. So I have about 2 cups of the Monterey Jack cheese, and I have about 1 1/2 cups of shredded cheddar cheese. We are not making a creamy mac and cheese and then making a chili and then topping that together. That would be good, but we're doing something that we're baking it all together. So keep that in mind for this recipe. This is like one that will, you can make ahead, you could like save it for 3 hours, put it in the oven for the big game or something like that, or you can have leftovers for during the week. Let's get into making that chili right now. Get a pan that's large enough. This is a 4-quart kind of high wall pan here. Get a pan that is at least this big. You could just do this in your Dutch oven to be extra safe, like a 6 or 8 quart Dutch oven. You could just use a regular 6 or 8 quart pot. But I know it fits in here because I just made it a couple days ago. We always test every recipe multiple times before we make a video for you because we don't mess around with the videos. Like, we want them to be perfect. If you wanted me to do stuff like where it's kind of experimental, I would do that too, but those would be a different type of video. All right, so I want to heat this pan up to a touch higher than medium. One ingredient I forgot to tell you was olive oil, or like a neutral oil like avocado. I'm gonna go get some avocado actually. I think that'll be better. And yes, I always store avocado in my living room. Now, if you've been watching this channel for a long time, you know that my other kitchen is in there, okay? That's the one we used to film on. Just enough, like a tablespoon and a half. If you're using a stainless steel pan, before you put your oil down, always let it heat up for a few minutes. This isn't a stainless, it's non-stick. Get a large pot of water going, boiling with salted water, okay? 2 tablespoons per gallon of water, and heat your oven to 375 degrees. Everything comes together quick here, so you can have both of those going already. That's 1 1/4 pounds of 80-20 chuck. I'm just trying to spread it out so it'll get a little bit brown, though it doesn't matter. We're making chili here. I'll get my splasher guard. So yeah, you can use turkey. You can even do pork with it if you like too. But yeah, I was going on the angle that it's not healthy because you're putting in almost 4 cups of cheese and everything else. Okay, so the meat masher. 2 tablespoons of chili powder, 2 teaspoons of ground cumin, 1.5 teaspoons diamond crystal kosher salt, 1 teaspoon dried oregano, 1 teaspoon garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon of optional cayenne pepper. Just give it a stir in here. We're just letting all this spice get into it. Now, if you're wondering why I did this first, I just wanted to get the meat a little brown. If you do the vegetables first, which you totally can, you're just not going to be able to brown the meat at all, which most chili recipes are done that way. Okay, so that's it. That's all you have to do here. I'm just going to turn my heat off for a second and put my meat in a bowl, dish, whatever. We got to put in our vegetables, okay? That's that 1 large red bell pepper or 2 smaller bell peppers, and then 1 large white onion, finely diced. I'm gonna turn my heat back up to medium. A little bit of oil, there's no oil left in the pan there, so put a little bit. Little sprinkle of salt, and I wanna cook these until they get soft, so about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, something like that, you know, minutes. Your mileage will vary depending on what you have your heat. I have my heat about medium right now. Okay, so it's gone about 5 minutes. You let it go a little bit more before you put the garlic in. Because it's such a quick chili, you can like try to like extract all these flavors as much as you can. Now listen, if you want a more complicated chili, I have 2 chili recipes. I have like kind of a classic chili using dry roasted full chilies. We used a bunch of anchos in there. I think we used some pasilla, like a few others. Like it was just, you know, there's more to it. That one you should put in the fridge overnight. I also did a chili Colorado. We already filmed it. That's a great one if you've never had that. I'm gonna put the garlic in right now. It's 5 tablespoons, not tablespoons, 5 cloves of garlic. Okay, a couple minutes, let the flavor really come out of that. If you feel like you're burning it all here, you can just do a little splash of water. You can take your pan off the heat. It's always the simplest thing to do. Couple minutes on that garlic like this. Listen, I made a mistake. These aren't crushed tomatoes. This looks like tomato sauce. I'm actually not even sure which can it is because we prepped this in advance. So if you do use tomato sauce or passata, I would say use, instead of 28 ounces, which is what is a standard can of crushed tomatoes, I would use probably about maybe 16 ounces or something, which is I'm gonna use about this much here. It's way too much tomato. But don't worry, the recipe says 1 canned crushed tomatoes. I just had to show it to you here because clearly, you know, if you have any knowledge of cooking, you're gonna know that these are not crushed tomatoes, okay? So that's probably about 18 ounces in there. Basically, the difference, just so you know, like crushed are gonna have like texture, they're gonna have like more water in there. Like a passata, you know, or like a tomato sauce is gonna be much thicker. Tomato puree, it's called often. That's kind of what this is. All right, so we have that in there. We're gonna put in our beef stock. This is 2 cups of that low sodium beef stock. That's Better Than Bouillon brand. This is 15-ounce can of kidney beans that I drained. Okay, I didn't rinse them. They have like starch in them, but I did drain them. And I'm just gonna return the beef right back in here. You can turn this up, bring it to a boil. Okay, so it's boiling, so just lower it now to a simmer. About a 4 out of 10. So I would say, like, if you have a little bit of time here, you can let this cook for about 20 minutes, but you don't have to. You can just let it simmer for 10 minutes, and then you can start cooking your pasta. All right, so I'm gonna let this simmer just about that much. This comes together really quickly. This is a quick meal that you absolutely can make during the week, and you get a lot out of it here, so you could probably get like 2 nights of dinner with this. Now, you can really make this your own here, which is what I always encourage you on this channel. Like, we've been from the beginning. You know, we started this 5 years ago. If you remember those early videos, like, I would always tell you that. And maybe I got a little bit away from that. I don't want you to think that, like, I'm giving you orders here. Like, if you want something spicy, more spicy, do it. If you want something else in there, do it. The flavor is delicious.
The thing I like about this is, like, a lot of times kids want like mac and cheese. There's no protein in that.
That's true.
And I feel like it's important to have that if you want to have a full meal.
So we're gonna boil the pasta now. Cook it to 2 to 3 minutes less than al dente. Trust me. Okay, so that's boiling. The box said 9, so I just set my timer to 6. This tastes great. We don't need any more salt in it. Now, if you want more heat, add the heat, or sugar. You could add a little bit of sugar if you need to balance out some of that chili powder, which, you know, sometimes can be a little bit on the bitter side. When you're boiling your pasta, make sure you save about a cup, maybe even a little bit more pasta water. When we mix this, if it's too thick, we'll just put a little bit in there because we're gonna bake it in the oven for about 10 minutes. We'll broil the top to get nice crispy edges. I already made this a few days ago. Didn't need to do it, but that might change, based on how high you had, your burner and how much evaporation has happened. So I just drained the pasta and saved 1 cup of the pasta water. Okay, I'm just gonna put it right in here. You can turn the heat off now on this. You could even just take this off the burner. And let's just mix this together. It's delicious. It's really, you got chili with macaroni right now, and the cheese gets added to it in a sec. Again, I know I said it before, if you wanted like an actual mac and cheese, then topped with a little bit of chili, I would just do a regular stovetop mac and cheese. We have an awesome recipe for it. It's very easy to do when you use sodium citrate. Okay, the cheese just stays melted. It's like Cheese Whiz, basically. I kept about 1 cup of the cheese off to the side. I just took a half and half of it, and then this cheese here, which is about 2.5 cups, we're just gonna mix through. You can also layer this in there, kind of like what you do for a baked ziti or something, but I just like to mix it in right now like this. It's all gonna melt in the oven. Remember, we have our oven on 375 degrees. You can keep 1 rack towards the middle and then another one that gives you enough space on the broiler, because it's really nice to hit up the broiler at the end. So the reason I said save your pasta water is right now you can look at it and you can see if it's a little too thick, and honestly I'm looking at it here and it looks a little thick to me, so I'll probably loosen it up a little bit. When I did the recipe for the site, I didn't need to do this. Okay, not that much. You don't even have to bake this. If you cook your pasta till it's done, you can just mix it like this and eat it right away. This isn't fine dining. You can do a few different things. You can just oil this a little bit if you like, just a little bit of oil, and just wipe it all around the sides. This is like a 9x13, so it's kind of like your standard 3-quart, 3.5 quart baking dish. Look, there's a matter of how much cheese you want here, so I probably have about 1/2 cup left over. All right, 10 minutes, 375, middle of the oven. At that point, you can start broiling it if you like, a couple minutes, but just watch carefully. Really simple. Hey, James. What do you think this is?
Chili mac and cheese.
You had it the other day, right?
Yeah, it looks better. It looks better the other day because it looks like there's more cheese in it.
That's a big bite.
I like it way more this time.
Yeah? What's different about this one?
Way more cheese. Last time it was just chili with pasta. I don't know what it was with the pasta. The pasta wasn't as good last time.
The pasta was really bad. That was Whole Foods brand of pasta, 365. I recommend you never purchase anything that's 365 pasta. And I have to be honest, almost every 365 thing I'm trying lately is going downhill. James was not coached to say that. This is different pasta. This is Ronzoni, which is not a high-end brand.
Yeah, usually I don't care about it, but last time it was mushy.
I wanted to use the other ones because they were larger, which I think would be nice. These are a medium shell, but Ronzoni's medium shells are small. Get to Checo if you can, but they didn't have it. So you get more cheese in it this time. I put more spices in it too. Does it feel like the chili has a better flavor?
The jalapenos are really spicy.
Yes, they are. And you just ate 2 of them.
Yeah.
That's what the sour cream is, to cool you down. Would it be better if I just made creamy mac and cheese? Remember the stovetop I made a couple weeks ago? And made a chili and just topped chili on top of the creamy mac and cheese?
No, it wouldn't be better.
Oh, well,
I like it more like this.
Okay. I thought you were going to say the other way it was better.
No, I actually really like this because I feel like it's just chili with pasta and some cheese. I really like it. I think it's really good like this. The only thing I would add on is after I'll put on hot sauce, Tabasco or something. But it's solid.
By the way, little promo here. We're doing full meals on Patreon from now on, complete meals. So it'll be an app, an entree, and sometimes a drink or a side dish. These are going to be about 40-minute videos. If you like us, you probably do since you made it to the end of this video, consider subscribing, signing up for that. No matter what level you're on there, and there are 3 levels, you will get access to those videos.
Or you just skip to the end of the video because you like me.
And another thing is James is going to start making some dishes. So you did one last night on Instagram, a little story we put up. By the way, follow the Instagram if you haven't done that already. But James is probably going to start making dishes on the Patreon, and I'm going to judge them. So we're going to flip the script. But go sign up for the Patreon.
So what I'm gonna give this is a 9 out of 10. Cause I don't think anything could make this better. I think 9 out of 10 is the best it can get. It's really solid. It's really good. I would eat this on the Super Bowl. I feel like that's the best thing for it.
Me too. What about if I took all of this and I made a ball and I breaded it and I deep fried it like a rice ball?
That does sound
but it
really
was
good.
a mac, it was a chili mac ball fried.
I think you gotta do that.
I know. Well, that's my idea. Anything else you want to say?
No, but this would be really good as a rice ball.
Okay, we will consider it, okay? Chili mac rice balls coming up a couple weeks from now. Until next time, we'll see ya. I guess you're gonna eat the whole thing, huh?